This is All Things Ansys, a podcast from the technical support staff at PADT, episode 106. We chat with PADT's Sina Ghods about Ansys Fluent 2022 R1 and look at Ansys' recently released fourth quarter financials. Greetings, I'm your host, Eric Miller, recording this as the sun is coming up in a cold, for us, morning in Tempe, Arizona on Thursday, February 24th. I hope 2022 is shaping up to be a good year for our listeners. I know a lot is going on outside of the Ansys world, some of it very worrying. So please join us for a little bit as we step into our Ansys bubble and talk about Ansys stuff. Today we're going to focus on two things: Fluent 2022 R1 and the newly released financial data for 2021 from Ansys. Let's start with our discussion with PADT's very own Sina Ghods, one of our CFD experts here at PADT, about what's new and exciting in 2022 R1. I want to welcome everybody here for our first discussion this year of what's new in the latest release of Ansys. And we're starting off with the flagship product, Ansys Fluent. And really happy to have Sina Ghods with us today. How you doing, Sina?
Good. How are you?
I cannot complain. It's Friday. We have a 3-day weekend coming, and the weather. This is a great time of year in Phoenix. So, plan on getting out and seeing some stuff this weekend. So,
exactly. Same here.
So, new release. For those that don't know kind of the inside deal at Ansys, when you're a channel partner or you're an employee and on the technical side, you have to do certification every once in a while, and we're doing that here. Our engineers are going through the certification process, and one of the feedbacks I got was that they notice in the certification, Ansys is adding a lot more to the code in every release, and there's not a break. And I think that I don't know if particularly 2022 R1 is a particularly bad one, but or a good one. Depends on if you like new features, it's a good thing. How is the load on this one? Is it lots?
It's
stuff.
Looking at the number of actually slides from new release updates, this is one of the major releases to me for Fluent. Mm-hmm. Obviously, R1, beginning of the year releases usually focuses on new models for different physics and applications rather than just like bug fixes or minor things. Mm-hmm. So you would definitely see lots of solver robustness and enhancements, but they also added a lot of models for different physics, from battery modeling to just you name it, fluid sounds, Fluent. Again, different physics and applications, lots of new capabilities. Yeah. And if you combine all these new capabilities, it's one of the major releases to me.
Good. So speaking of that, then, it seems very broad. What's the big change that users should get excited about?
Yeah, so if I kind of categorize the new capabilities, again, this release focuses on, as always, the user interface and usability. But two other major things I would say is new physics capabilities and workflows. So there are two workflows now available. And if you remember Ansys, when you launch Ansys, the launcher, it gives you the solution mode or meshing mode or mesher. And if you select mesher, there are different workflows for watertight geometry or dirty geometry. Now there are more predefined workflows for different applications. And the major one and the most important one is for external aerospace, external aerodynamics. So
nice.
In the launcher page, there's the specific option. If you choose that, it will take you to that specific workflow, and that is specifically optimized for that application from the best practices it's called Aero workflow. So if you
Okay.
select that, again, dedicated Fluent workspace for aerospace external aerodynamic and simulation. It's a streamlined setup and analysis tools for that application. Best practices to minimize, the need of user to adjust model and settings. Still, you have full access to the Fluent features and capabilities. It's just a predefined workflow. It kind of automates the setup of solver settings, post-processing, output parameters, those type of things. And also there's aircraft component groups like input conditions and results, those type of things. You can have like free stream or wind tunnel type of domain with different parts of engines. Again, everything is kind of predefined, and you can have Python scripting and journal recording. So that is, in addition to that, there are some numerical enhancements for density-based solver, which is usually the case for high-speed external aerodynamics. So overall, it should be a really big news or good news for people who work in those areas. That's one thing. And also, there's new turbomachinery capabilities in Fluent.
Ooh, good.
CFX is still our kind of flagship turbomachinery tool. Fluent is getting more and more capabilities each release, and this release was no exception. And now there is a workflow called Turbo Workflow that can quickly set up turbomachinery flow parameters for like different instrument primary performance parameters, those type of things. So you can like set up axial or radial compressor and turbines. You can read multiple meshes, copy paste and rotate and stitch different meshes, and apply turbo boundary conditions, turbo coordinates to different components. So it's and again another workflow for that specific application. The first one was aerospace aerodynamics. The second one is turbo workflow.
Let me ask you this question on the turbo, because I'm of course very familiar with the CFX, kind of grew up on that, and that's what we used here internally at PADT. But if you're a new user and you're going to be, let's not say you're doing jet engines, right? If you're doing jet engines, your company's going to decide for you. But let's say you're doing a fan. Would you now start in CFX or start in Fluent? Which one would you start in if you're a new user?
It depends again. If you're doing steady state, for example, you can do that's the main thing. You can do it in Fluent. There are blade row interface improvements in this new release for like mixing plane formulations, and also the tip gap interface matching. Those types of things, but just keep in mind, still, it's limited to the steady state simulations. That's probably
just getting started there. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
But yeah, if that's your case, you're doing a simple steady state, Fluent is a great option. There again, each release they get more and more capabilities from CFX. To Fluent, like this release got something CFX got actually a couple of releases ago called plate film cooling that models those virtual geometry and boundary conditions to simulate the plate cooling, turbomachinery cooling. It's there. So overall, it's a very fast growing area in Fluent turbomachinery, but there might be some cases that still you might need to use the flagship turbomachinery tool right now, which is CFX from the Ansys tool. So.
Good to know. Okay.
Yep.
I interrupted you. You were going to add something else.
Yeah, I was just as I said. So that was in terms of the workflows, and then. Ansys always focuses on user interface and also GPU probably is a big thing. The multi GPU solver, which is a beta feature, is now available in Fluent. Kind of accelerates the steady state CFD simulations and support different capabilities from it's single or multiple GPU simulation, subsonic compressible flows. With CFD, you can do CHD or porous media with that. So that's a big thing. And a GPU is kind of a hot topic these days. And
Yes.
This is a new beta feature in Fluent, which has showed a very strong improvements in capabilities in terms of scaling with multiple GPUs that I encourage you to try. And besides that, meshing is a big thing. One of my favorite features in meshing is for the fault tolerant meshing. And this is a case that you just change one part of a big assembly, and you don't want to remesh the whole thing. And it's called part replacement. So it's now available, the capability that you can efficiently add or remove or replace the geometry objects of your CAD model without having to remesh the whole model. And so you can just remesh the like surface mesh or volume mesh when you change the CAD, and it saves a lot of time. Because I've seen as a end user complain about I have to remesh the whole thing. That is one thing big to me, and overall meshing, sharing topology has been improved for water type meshing. Besides this, again, it's all about different physics. So if I just want to name it in combustion, hydrogen combustion is there. It's been validated in Fluent for different hydrogen combustors and combustions. And that is also a hot topic these days. Battery simulation, which is very hot topic. Battery lifing model has been improved.
Okay.
There is a physics space for aging, aging model that predicts the battery's capacity fade from the first principles, which is really good. And also there's a battery ROM, it's called ROM, reduced order models in Fluent. So you can kind of streamline the training data creation for Ansys to embed their ROM. So it's again a great opportunity. Also, there is a battery. It's called Pack Builder tool. So the Fluent already had the efficient workflow to simulate individual modules of batteries. This battery pack builder tool kind of streamlines the workflow to assemble a battery pack by using a cold plate and then a copy paste of existing battery module setup. So you can make a whole pack, and that's a new feature in terms of the battery modeling and simulation. And in the world of electronic cooling, ice pack, if you're familiar with that, it's the tool in Ansys tool for those type of applications that simulate the heat transfer for different electronic components. Now there's a workflow, or there's the capability to include an ice pack PCB, a printed circuit board analysis inside Fluent case. So there are some cases, that's great, because there were some cases like they were complicated, like they had LED headlamps or automotive sensors, for example, assemblies. The geometry was complex, or physics was complex to handle inside ice pack. So Fluent was needed. So now you can just append a PCB only case from ice pack and kind of append it to the rest of your geometry in Fluent. and you can use the mesh interface inside Fluent to connect that PCB to the rest of the domain and do a more complicated Fluent simulation. So it's a really, this one is also was kind of a bottleneck before, I've noticed a new capability inside Fluent that I like.
That's big. I think that's one of those things that users have been kind of, we really want to do this. So
yes,
cool.
Exactly. That's again a good thing about this new release is this, they cover lots of applications with new workflows or kind of capabilities, connectivities. So I really like the new updates from this the new release. And obviously, if I want to go down to the details of the new features, it was a long one. Lots of improvements in terms of solver robustness. There is in the acoustic area, there's a sponge layer now. Kind of avoids non-physical reflections near boundaries. That is also very useful, asked from the customers for a long time, to avoid those reflections near the boundaries. And again, many other improvements, thin gaps again. In many applications, it's just coming to my mind. Thin gaps usually, if it's a very thin area, it was kind of modeled with a flow blocking. But now there's an option with a new thin gap modeling to model the flow and those narrow gaps in moving mesh kind of simulation. So that is another application that has got improvement. I highly recommend. We have a webinar next week.
Okay, good.
Wednesday. Yeah, that we cover all the details of the new improvements in more details. So I highly recommend people to join or to go through the recording and the slides later if they're looking for specific updates, or just reach out to us if they have questions about a specific capability.
Good. Yeah, and I always say, if you're using the code all the time, read the release notes.
Yes,
and I think it's good to have go through it, go to listen to this, go to a webinar, and then kind of dig into the areas that you care about in the release notes.
Yes. And if you have the chance, I know people are in specific areas, like they're in production and they have to use a specific releases, official releases, because it's been tested and verified by their internal processes and standards. But if you have the chance to upgrade to new release, I highly recommend. There's many things that you even might not be mentioned in the release notes or updates. There's some bugs fixed that might affect your work. So it's always recommended, if you have the chance to upgrade, please do upgrade to new releases.
Yes. Yeah. Don't wait until you need it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Cool. Anything else you want to share with the users?
Not really. For Fluent, I think workloads and GPU is the highlight to keep in mind, and try other things if you have specific applications. Try new release for sure to see if there's an improvement.
I do have one question to put you on the spot here that I just thought of. Been paying a lot of attention over on the Ansys side to this Ansys stuff, right? So the new Python API. Has that changed a lot? Is there a PyFluent, and if so, are they working on it?
Yes. There's a PyFluent. It is very fundamentally valuable. It kind of opens a lot of doors to Ansys users. And the idea is basically, because right now it's kind of a a closed ecosystem with Fluent in terms of scripting, and user-defined functions. With PADT Fluent, which is not in its early stages. It's developed very fast. It's a good kind of, I would say, midway through the official release. The idea is that now users can help each other instead of, it kind of lifts a lot of load from the Ansys developers.
Good.
So you have if you're in like aerospace industry or car automotive industry, any again, your specific industry, you can develop your own libraries and user-defined functions and share that with other users. So that's why I say it opens a lot of doors.
Good.
It is coming. I would say it's not in early stages. It's internally. I've seen some demos. It's really impressing. Good. Stay tuned. It was a really good point, actually.
Good.
I know a lot of people.
We've been waiting for it for a long time.
Yes. I know people with Python background or coding background. They would definitely love the new capabilities. Yeah.
Excellent. Good. Yep. Well, on that high note, I'm going to let you go and hopefully get you started on your 3-day weekend, maybe a little bit earlier. And,
I still have to send out a couple of emails and then I'm ready for
and relax.
You have some visitors from California, so you can tell how nice is the weather here now.
people coming over.
Over from California. So it's really nice here now these days.
They'll probably end up buying a house. That seems to be what happens when they
that's an probability. Yeah, that's a good point.
All right. Well, thank you. As always, I learned a ton.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm excited to see all the cool stuff.
Sure.
And do follow, listeners do follow up with the webinar, which you can watch live or listen to the recording and those release notes.
Yeah. That would be, that's about an hour of detailed presentations about the new enhancements. Yep.
Excellent. Well, good stuff. All right. We'll have a great weekend, and we'll see you Tuesday.
You too.
Thanks,
Eric. Yeah.
Bye-bye. I want to thank him for all that useful information. I, for one, and you can probably tell, was most excited about the start of the turbo machinery capability growing in Fluent. It's not moving so much from CFX because they're still improving capabilities there, but adding more to Fluent. So it's been a long time coming, and we're good to see more progress on that. And I think the workflows as well are something that we're going to look back on and really appreciate as those improve and get better and better with time. For this episode's commercial, I'd like to talk about training options that PADT offers. Just this week, we hosted 2 classes for 2 different customers. I think we're 18 or so students, or maybe even 20 between the 2 classes. And you may ask, Eric, why would someone do Ansys training with PADT when we have the Ansys Learning Hub? Well, the answer is pretty simple. They want their engineers to get up to speed faster and with greater skill. The Learning Hub is a fantastic resource for training, and we recommend it all the time to our customers. But nothing beats having an expert user teaching a class and interacting with the students. And that's why our training staff is still busy working with customers to design the right training courses for them. Of course, right now, we are delivering them virtually, but we hope to soon be back to in-person training as well. So there's a lot of options out there. We can customize the class. We can do whatever you need to make it the best for your team. So please, if you want to, you or your staff, to get better at Ansys faster, reach out to PADT at training@padtinc.com or, as always, info@padtinc.com. Let's take a look at the news. Ansys stock. One area of the outside world that's sticking its finger into the Ansys bubble is stock price. As the market closed yesterday, which was February 23rd, the S&P 500 was down 11.3% for the year, and Ansys stock is about down around a quarter, 25%, 26% actually, to $338.17 per share for the year so far. So not fantastic. We're not super happy about that, but looking at the way things are going out there, it kind of makes sense. The big thing I want to focus on, though, for Ansys News this week, this episode, I should say, is the Q4 report that came out yesterday on the 23rd. So this is where they release their information to the investment community, to Wall Street, and let analysts know what happened and where they think things are going. So big numbers. By the way, I always report what they call the GAAP numbers. These are the generally accepted accounting practices numbers. There's different ways you can count the dollars going in and out the door. So these are the ones that they tend to report. So, but there's other numbers that are non-GAAP that can give some useful information if you know how to read those things. Anyway, the most important number is revenue. So they did $656 million in revenue in Q4. Unfortunately, that was not enough to get to $2 billion for the year. I was hoping that they would break the $2 billion barrier. They didn't. They were $100 million short at $1.9 billion. But still, we can call them a $2 billion company. That's up 5% for the quarter and 13% for the year compared to 2020. In 2020, the revenue was $1.7 billion. So that's pretty impressive, 13% growth considering everything that's going on in the world right now. Profit for Q4 was $203.2 million. Or $454.6 million for the year. So that's how much they kept to reinvest. That was a drop in income year over year for Q4, but an increase for the full year of a 5% gain in profit. So that's a nice thing to see. One of the things I usually don't share is the section in the financial report where they list challenges. But I think since all of us are dealing with challenges, and all of us, whether you're an employee or a business owner or running your own business, everybody's dealing with these challenges. And I think it was actually a pretty good list. So I thought I'd share them, what they see as challenges in the coming year, the year we're in right now. So number one is the adverse macroeconomic conditions. Inflation is going to be an impact on business. Supply chain continues to be. Rising interest rates are going to make things. The continuing pandemic. And, they were doing this at the time that the first land war in Europe since 1945 began with the invasion of the Ukraine now. And that's going to cause disruptions. Don't know how it's going to impact the Ansys business, but it's going to impact everything. So we'll keep an eye on that. Kind of depressing, but we'll keep an eye on it. Difficulty in recruiting talent. Everybody's dealing with that. And let me point out, once again, that PADT has several great openings for both salespeople and Ansys experts on our Ansys sales support and consulting team if you or someone you know is interested. So we're dealing with that as well. Tariffs and other trade barriers have impacted them. The pandemic and other natural disasters, of course, still have a ongoing impact. But, when we read about a bad storm or a volcano or something like that, there's probably Ansys customers impacted by that, and it does impact sales. The uncertainty that exists with the customer base is significant. The next one I'm going to read a quote from the financial report because I think it's important to read it the way they said it, which is increased volatility in our revenue due to the timing, duration, and value of multi-year lease contracts and a reliance on high renewal rates for annual lease and maintenance contracts. So these large enterprise transactions that Ansys has been doing, which is fantastic for all of us because it really helps create more revenue and more R&D budget and more input for R&D. The problem with those is that they tend to be large dollar amounts that come and go in chunks. They never, unfortunately, even out evenly over the year. And so that volatility in revenue, you can get one big multi-year deal that you book, and then you don't get another one for a little while, and that kind of throws the numbers off. So it's an important thing when you look at the numbers to know about. They're also dealing with cybersecurity challenges, right? They have to spend time and money to secure their network and deal with people stealing their intellectual property, right? Other people either stealing the software itself to use or stealing some of their secret sauce on how they do things. So those are expenses and those are challenges. Then they listed a bunch of business stuff like dealing with the quality in the product, right? So that has costs. If they fixing bugs costs money. Acquisition challenges, right? I personally, having seen this industry for coming on, or actually 30 years now or more, Ansys does a really good job of acquiring companies. They have a process, they have a method, but it's never smooth and it's never easy. They do it better than anybody else I know, but there's cost associated with that. There's costs with running a global sales organization, remote work transition back to more in-person, or bringing people back and then putting them back home again with Omicron. And something that you probably read about in the news that impacts Ansys is the cost of repatriating cash from other countries, right? There's tax issues with that, both in the home country and the new country. And people cost more, especially R&D people cost more. So that's been a higher cost, as have delays in R&D because of COVID and other issues. And then, of course, last but certainly not least is they're making money, so they got to pay taxes. And so that, figuring that out and minimizing that tax burden and paying those taxes has a cost. So none of these are a big surprise. I think it's kind of important that everybody be aware of it. Just keep watching it. It'll be interesting to see how the year unfolds and how they recover, how they absorb the ZMax acquisition, and how that impacts the bottom line as well. And of course, how the global situation changes with time, and especially how it impacts the European Union and sales there. Other thing of note is that cash reserves went from, they had $913 million in cash at the end of 2020. That's now down, that's a lot of money. That's now down to $668 million, which is still a lot of money as of December 31st, 2021. So good to know that that's, they still got a lot of cash even after the acquisitions that they've done. At the close of the market yesterday, their market cap was $26 billion. That's what the company is worth now. So the bottom line, if you look at the financials, and I'm no expert, is that revenue growth of 15% is pretty impressive. I think 20% is something that people like to see. So it's a little bit less than that. And the profit growth of only 5% on that 15% growth in revenue is probably what Wall Street is paying attention to. Who knows what they're paying attention to? But I suspect that that's something to look at and to look for changes in the coming year. It's a decent revenue growth, but profit margins going from 30% to 27% year over year is probably impacting the stock price and decision making. So hopefully hiring will get better, inflation will get better. People will return to work and be efficient, or not return to work and be efficient, whatever is the best. And we'll see the cost of the recent acquisitions get absorbed, and we'll see Ansys grow and it's growing. I shouldn't say grow and profit again. Grow and profit more. It's still doing really well. Besides, in general Ansys news, besides the financial results, the other bit of news, speaking of ZMax, is that Optics Studio Star, a module that's part of their product suite, won the SPIE Prism Award. If you don't know what SPIE is, that's the big optics trade group or professional group, whatever you call it. They have their big conference every year in San Francisco. It's a big deal, and winning an award at that is a big deal. So it shows the strength of the product in that industry, and we can't wait to continue to see its integration in the Ansys world. PADT news, we've got no big news. We've got some kind of behind the scenes news just for you. No promises on this because we haven't made a final decision yet. But if you visited our website, you know that it's a classic website. We're very proud of our content. We rank very well when it comes to search engine optimization and things like that. And we run into people all around the world that literally say they use our blog as a resource. So we're very proud of our website for not just the Ansys stuff, but the other things. But it was getting a little old. Not a little old. It was kind of embarrassingly old. So we've done a redo. We've worked with a local company here to redo the website. We're going to soft launch it hopefully tonight or tomorrow morning, if all goes well today. No big hullabaloo yet. We'll probably do an official announcement once we work out some kinks. But if you do go to our website, let us know what you think. We're pretty excited about it, and we're still putting final touches on things and adding content to it. It's going to take quite a while to get it up to the content level that the current site has. But one thing I should note is the blog is not going away. None of the blog content is disappearing. It's all still there. Links should work to blog articles, but if they don't, use the search to find the blog articles you're looking for. But none of the content on the blog site is going away. So I want to make sure everybody knows that. It's just the rest of the website that's getting a facelift and new content. So let us know what you think. Speaking of blogs, looking at the Ansys blog, there was only one article that I thought was worth sharing. There's some other stuff in there. You always check it out. Don't take my word for it. You might find stuff that I don't find so interesting. But the one I thought, and it's just in time for the Super Bowl being over, is called Tackling Challenges in the NFL with Simulation. So if you're a football fan and you're a simulation fan, these are two important worlds that you like coming together, and it's a cool article, kind of interesting. We didn't post anything new on the PADT blog since our last podcast. And the only upcoming event that I've got on my calendar right now is the mechanical update on webinar on Ansys 22 R1 Part 1. So we break this into two parts because there's so much going on in mechanical and so many of our customers are mechanical users. So this first Part 1 is going to be on general advancements and composites. And that's going to be on the 9th. So look forward to everybody learning from that. We don't have any other events, no other things to talk about. So I'm going to sign off and let everybody get back to what they were doing. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to us and to give us a voice in the Ansys community. Don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter at www.padtinc.com/opt-in and spread the word so that everybody knows what's going on. And don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you for joining us for the All Things Ansys podcast, episode 106. As a reminder, this podcast is not affiliated in any way with Ansys Inc., and the opinions expressed are those of the people on the show only and not of their current or former employers. For more information, visit www.padtinc.com/blog, and please share your thoughts and questions through an email to podcast@padtinc.com. See you next time.